we've both prepared our separate Spider-Man power rankings lists. I figure we could go back and forth starting from the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
We included animated the Spider-Verse 2, the two Spider-Verse movies, and all three of the live action Spider-Man movies. We've left out Avengers and the Captain America Civil War and any of that stuff. We've left out the series. So we have 11 movies.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matthew, what do you have at your number 11 spot?
Coming in at the last spot is The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Excellent. I have the same one.
Perfect.
Yep. Worst script that's ever been put on the big screen for Spider-Man.
Yeah, I had fun watching it, but I recognized when I saw it in 2014, I'm like, yeah, this isn't good. Like Electro looks super fucking weird. Hated that Gwen died, even though that's not necessarily an issue, but just the script wasn't great. Yeah.
It was trash.
Yeah.
The villains were really bad.
Paul Giamatti being the Rhino, the Russian Rhino, for like 3 seconds at the end too. Just wanted to shout that out.
It's a damn shame because Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone were fantastic in these awful movies.
Yeah.
Like they were really good in these piece of trash movies. I just feel bad for Garfield that he never got like a good script in his 2 appearances as Spider-Man. Also, they shot sequences of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in Rochester, in downtown Rochester.
They did.
Yep. So number 11 out of 11. Moving on to number 10. What do you have for number 10?
So this, I can't remember how you stand on some of these Spider-Man movies. And I know I've gotten a lot of flack about how I rate these movies from other friends in the past. But at number 10, I have the original first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to have an interesting, I think, I'm going to have interesting rankings, honestly, I think, compared to yours after that first one.
This is where I've slotted in Spider-Man 3.
That's what I would
Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3.
I would have guessed that.
Messy. I don't blame Sam Raimi. I really think he did a great job with Spider-Man. The black suit was really cool.
Yeah.
Just too much studio intervention with this one, and they shoehorned in a bunch of characters that had no business being there.
Stuffed the gill.
And it muddied up this movie. Spider-Man at 10. Crazy.
Yeah, I have that one. I saw this in theaters when it originally came out. I remember my grandfather came to town. The whole family went and saw, Spider-Man, the big movie that's out now. Let's go see it. I remember really liking it as a kid, but I never really rewatched it. It wasn't like this thing that stuck out. It was this amazing thing I loved. I'm like, that was a cool movie. And then I didn't rewatch it until college. I did not rewatch that movie. So that was 2000 or 2001? The first Tobey Maguire came out?
2002, the first one came out.
Okay, so that probably was, say, a summer movie. So then I had to be end of second grade
I believe it was.
And so I would have been 8 years old, end of second grade. So I didn't revisit these movies for 10 years, honestly. I think that's what it was. So it would have been the beginning of college when I had all this extra time with the different scheduling and everything. I'm like, I'm going to just go watch a bunch of movies all the time in my spare time.
Yeah.
So I came back to this trilogy, rewatched that. And then I watched 2 and 3 because I had never gotten around to seeing those growing up.
Oh,
so
wow.
So all of you, probably all of our friends had watched them as they came out over the years. I did not. And I came to these with a different adult lens to it, different time. Like a lot, movies had progressed in a certain way at that point. So I remember rewatching 1, and I was like, wow, I don't think this is good. I watched 2
flawed. It's flawed,
which is fair, and I understand it was a different time. And I watched
such good sequences in it, though. The Uncle Ben in that one, I love the
Uncle
old
Ben's
school
great and iconic. William Dafoe as Green Goblin, amazing,
unbelievable.
But I remember also watching the first one a couple years ago in the lead up to No Way Home. Because, Alyssa and I had heard all the rumors about all the other Spider-Men joining that movie. And at the time, Alyssa had never seen the other franchises. So we decided to watch all the other ones. And we watched the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. And she just looked at me. She's like, this isn't good. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think this is good either. and cause I understand when it was made, and maybe it's not aged the best, but like there was a scene early on with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, like outside her job, her diner, and they're
Hmm.
talking, and I'm like, the acting is really rigid. Something doesn't sit right with me. I'm like, I don't
I like
like
Kirsten
this.
Dunst. She is not good in those movies.
Yeah, so I feel the same. And so, point being, like we returned, I got to see this again like 5 years ago, and
Hmm.
I just was not a fan of them. And I'll get to my other ones, my other ratings for 2 and 3 eventually as I go through this list. But I was just like one, I'm like, I just don't like the acting. It feels dated. And just I just don't like, and don't, it doesn't sit well with me. I don't enjoy this.
Okay, I'm shocked it's that low. I don't really blame you for not for not being super high on it, but
I mean,
um,
to be fair, too, there's a lot of strong movies in the greater
there are.
Spider-Man universe too.
Yes.
So to me, there's not a lot of weak ones. So it kind of just naturally will fall at the bottom.
Hmm. That's fair. All right, that was our number tens. What do you have at number nine?
I have Spider-Man 3.
Okay,
And so like,
so just one notch above.
yeah, so not too much different there. Real quick with this
I was
one.
lower on it, so
Yeah,
I don't blame you
I
there.
remember hearing from all of our friends, like, yeah, this movie's not good. You get the cringy, emo Toby kind of bebopping, snapping
Which is
down the street,
hilarious.
which
It's
is a
not
great
good. It's
meme.
so funny.
And I watched it and I'm like, I know this is ridiculous, but this is really funny because of how ridiculous it is. And I think the fact,
Bully Maguire.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think it helped for me at the time that this movie was made in 2007 or came out in 2007. So it looked kind of newer. It wasn't as stiff as some older movies. It was overstuffed. It was overloaded with all these villains that clearly they were just trying to franchise build. That was a little crazy. But I remember besides that, and also Topher Grace just kind of being annoying in this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
he was not good at all. I
yeah,
love that 70s show. Big
same.
fan.
Yep.
He was so bad in it.
Yeah. And so I just think overall, I just didn't have as many issues with it as other people did. So it wasn't at the very bottom of my rankings.
Hmm. I feel like the first one, although it's super, its flaws are there. Really bad CGI, very like familiar classic beats. It's like it was like the origin story of back then. So
Yep.
a lot of the stuff that feels like stale is because it did it and it's been copied 100 times since, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Similar to like a 90s Arnold movie where it's like,
right.
oh, that's corny, but it's like, no, that's the first time it was done. We grew up watching SpongeBob do that. Like it
Hmm.
was so beat to death by that point.
Right.
I definitely think Spider-Man 1 is better than Spider-Man 3, but Spider-Man 3 definitely belongs in the bottom.
I think I'm in the vast majority. I think I'm maybe the only person that's ever said three is better than one. So,
Yeah, I've never heard that take before. My number nine is The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
mm-hmm.
Similar issues as the second. Um, just a bad script again. Really good actor playing Peter and Andrew Garfield. Really good chemistry with Emma Stone. Um, I just think it was just such a bad script. Definitely better than the second one, but just rehashing Spider-Man 1 in my opinion a worse way. With those like getting bit by a spider and the changing and stuff, and I just think the Spider-Man 1, even though they're all like 35 years old in high school, but like the fight and the catching stuff on the tray, that works a lot better for me
That
than
is true.
Andrew Garfield jumping from the half court line and just shattering the backboard in front of a bunch of people,
Just dunking on
like
the
doing
bully.
something that's never been done by a human being
How did the
in the
coach?
history of
Yeah,
existence in front of like 100 students,
literally.
and it not being like study this guy in a lab.
Yeah.
Like
The gym
I
teacher's not like, get on the varsity basketball team right now.
yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good in my opinion.
Mhm.
All right. Number 8.
He made up a good point, made some good points with Amazing Spider-Man, but to keep in line with my previous line of thinking, Spider-Man 2 is my number 8, which I know is the the Spider-Man movie for so many people because Doc Ock, there's so much there, and it's just the time I came to this trilogy, I'm just like, I have the Marvel Cinematic Universe in its heyday at this point. This isn't doing it for me. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Wow.
I'll leave it at that.
I'm shocked that two. I hoped that that one would at least creep up a little higher on your list. If I was to make a like, which we might do someday, a superhero movies Mount Rushmore,
Oof.
Spider-Man 2 is on that for me.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty popular opinion. I know a lot of yeah, a lot of people feel the same way. I'm in the
That's the
vast.
first one I saw in theaters. I
Okay.
saw Spider-Man 2 in theaters.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, there's like really good competition with Spider-Man. I really enjoy Far From Home. I think it's really fun. I think it's really weak as a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Um, it's definitely, in my opinion, the weakest of the Tom movies. Um, keep Spider-Man in New York City.
Yeah.
I really liked Mysterio as a villain, seeing him for the first time, because Mysterio was the villain planned for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Or no, maybe not the main one. I think it was supposed to be Vulture and Mysterio were planned for Spider-Man 4,
That sounds
and that
right.
movie was scrapped.
Mm-hmm.
Um, really good use of Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a lot of fun. It just feels like a European vacation. Like I said,
Yeah.
keep Spider-Man in New York, no space, no Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Far From Home, bottom of my MCU Spider-Man appearances.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for number 7?
I also have Spider-Man Far From Home there.
Okay.
It might, and once we get to 6, it could easily flip flop with my 6th choice. But I had similar thoughts. I mean, I really liked it. Pretty good movie, fun movie. I remember really loving it at the time. In a
Mhm.
way, it was cool to see Spider-Man in Europe and to kind of do the stuff he did. But I
Yeah, it's
agree.
fun. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's just
it's fun. It's different, but it's not the greatest Spider-Man movie for all the reasons you said. Out of the City, Mysterio was a really great villain. It just felt, I don't want to say low stakes in a way, but it didn't feel super high stakes. It was
did.
just Marvel made just another fun Marvel movie, and Tom Holland is great in his role, and Zendaya and Jacob Batalon are likable as their side characters,
Yeah.
and
Nothing was outwardly bad
nothing's bad
about
about
it.
it.
There
Yeah,
just wasn't anything like fantastic about it either. It was
completely
just
agree.
like it was fine.
Yeah, it was a fun adventure.
So that was your number 7, correct?
That was my 7.
Okay. My 7 is No Way Home.
Okay, yeah, yep.
No Way Home was probably my favorite theater experience of my
That was a good
life.
one.
It like that was so crazy. Like seeing Tom and and Andrew, or Tom, Andrew, and
Toby.
Toby share the screen was so great. I had seen the criticism multiple times of like it doesn't hold up on your next viewings as much,
Mm-hmm.
and I went a long time without revisiting it. And then I watched it. I've seen it twice this year. I saw it when it first came on Disney Plus, um, maybe 5-6 months ago. I watched it, and I had a really good time watching it.
Wait, was that your first time watching it since the theater?
No, I think I saw it theater, and then I think I saw it shortly after it like had come out on like digital or whatever.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think I'd seen it 2 or 3 times in the first 2 years, of like that during COVID kind of window. And then I went a long time without seeing it,
Mm-hmm.
and then revisiting it 6 months ago. I did enjoy it, and I gave it a higher rating on Letterboxd than I did when I watched it like 3-4 weeks ago.
Gotcha.
3-4 weeks ago is when it really set in. Like, okay, after you've seen it and you know what's coming, and the luster and the shock and the awe is kind of
Yeah.
faded, it's just not a good script. I don't think the story holds up. It's just like Spider-Man playing the hits.
Yeah.
We're in the multiverse now. We have the excuse to pull from all this,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like so fun and cool.
It
But
was.
when you're watching it not in a theater, and you're like almost witnessing applause breaks in your living room on the TV for like Toby comes in, or like
He
Andrew
comes through the
comes in
portal.
through the
Yeah.
portal, and there's like it pauses because people were clapping out of their minds and cheering in theaters, and they didn't want the cheering to go over any dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like pauses in the movie, and it's just like, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff in it that is like
Great choice. A great point.
blew my mind seeing it. and I just think it's kind of worn off
Hmm.
as the years have gone on and as the views have kind of racked up. All right, moving on to number 6. We are in the top half.
Hmm.
What do you have?
So here I have the first Amazing Spider-Man.
Ooh, it made it up that
I
high.
Yeah, I when I saw that, I remember seeing it actually the night before I started classes for undergrad. I remember going to
Okay.
theaters and seeing it, so I have the specific memory. And just at that time in 2012 when it came out, it was just hit me at the right time. I had a lot of fun. I really
Hmm.
loved Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
I really love Andrew Garfield's take on Spider-Man. Like you had kind of said, I think you're right that he got a much weaker overall version of those movies, unfortunately.
Hmm.
I thought he brought a unique take to it. I thought he did a great job. It was just a lot of fun. I really liked him and Emma Stone together. I thought,
Undeniable chemistry.
yeah, I thought Reese Ifans was a really good villain. I thought just all the act. I thought the acting was pretty good. I liked the kind of element with was it Captain Stacy and everything.
Hmm.
I don't know, a lot of it just worked for me. It was a very nice updated version of Spider-Man for me, and I've always had just I mean, it could be a lot of nostalgia and a lot coming from that first
Yeah.
viewing, but I loved it so much that first viewing that I've always viewed it really favorably. And just I think Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, and just kind of their humor they bring to it always sat really well with me for some reason.
I think they are for sure the best part of it. And
Hmm.
one thing I didn't even say about the Amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie that we both put at number 11, that one handled the suit and some of the action the best that had been done at that point. I want to just say that, like, I do think the Amazing Spider-Man handles like the web swinging and stuff. I don't love the suit in the Amazing Spider-Man,
Hmm.
but in the second one, the suit is really cool. I
Hmm.
think the suit was cool. You got like the ripples in the wind. There's
Yeah,
that like him just
true.
diving. There's some really cool stuff like that, but it's just like outside of the chemistry and performances of the main characters, I
Right.
think both movies just fall super flat in the plot.
Hmm.
Um, and same with the like the Raimi Uncle Ben and Aunt May just like pull on my heartstrings in such a way that like, and
Yeah,
I love Martin Sheen and Sally Field. I think they're both so
yeah.
good.
Talk about
They're both so phoning it in
yeah,
this movie and in the next one. Like
yeah,
Sally Field like doesn't know what movie she's doing. She's just like reading lines, and I love her. I think she's
yeah.
such a talented actress.
Mhm.
She was given nothing to do in this one.
True.
Um,
Great, amazing. I mean, two amazing actors to get for those roles. But like you
yeah,
said, they're kind
a
of just here.
waste, a
Yeah, just
waste
get.
in a garbage movie.
Yeah.
Um, all right, my 6 might be kind of controversial. I wish I had rewatched it more recently, but I have Across the Spider Verse, the
Okay.
second of the Spider Verse animated movies.
Hmm.
Um, I think after the third one comes out, the first and third are going to be the ones that are like really remembered. I feel like Across felt like a jam packed middle to me. There
It's
was
tough.
just
Yeah, it
a
feels
lot
like.
going on. It was long.
Hmm.
I do not fall asleep during movies. I fell asleep during this one
Hmm.
and had to like wake up the next day, like and refinish it the next day. And I was
Hmm.
just kind of like lost. I had a tough time getting through this one compared to the first one.
Yeah.
Um, it didn't feel like it ended with like any sort of like resolution. It just kind of like ended with, and then there's another one
Yeah.
kind of. And I hate when movies do that.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, these movies are beautiful, though. I don't have. I know I just kind of shit on it, but I don't have that much criticism. I
I
think
hear
these
you.
movies are
Hmm.
amazing. Um, the animation style, the voice performances, the
Hmm.
action. Like I think these movies are really cool. I just think the first one's way better than
Yeah.
Across.
Hmm.
All right, we are in top 5 territory, Matthew. Number 5 for you.
So with what you were kind of saying about Across the Spider Verse being really good, but you were pointing out kind of the few little things that weren't the
Hmm.
greatest for you. I think now the top 5 or 6 is when all these get a lot closer for me.
Yeah,
And even
it's
like
like
at
more
3 or 4,
nitpicky.
yeah, those 3 or 4 even like get even closer. But for my 5, I have Spider-Man Homecoming, which I
Ooh, okay.
I really love Spider-Man Homecoming. I've loved it since I first saw it. I think it's a great Spider-Man movie. They have to do some things differently because, like they've said many times, they didn't want to retread the Uncle Ben story. They didn't want
Mhm.
to retread, the whole Spider-Man origin story. They were well past it at this point because of Civil War, but also just the other
Yeah,
franchises.
we've already seen that stuff.
Right. But for that, I mean, and like I said, like I love this movie. And
Hmm.
I just think there are four better movies ahead of it. And even now that we've kind of talked about some of these, there might be some adjustment later on. Now, kind of retroactively for me.
Yeah.
But love Tom Holland. Tom Holland's my favorite Spider-Man, which I'll say now. And I don't have the Tobey Maguire kind of background too, because a lot of people will kind of
Hmm.
fight me on that. He's my favorite Spider-Man. I think starting MJ off as kind of the side character, and then at the end it's revealed who she is, and she's kind of there.
Yes.
I think it
Very
was
well used in a
yes.
barely used way, but her
Mhm.
role growing in the next two is I like that a lot.
Yeah, we get, Jacob Batalon as Ned Leeds for the first time, and their
Hmm.
chemistry as friends is so believable and so great. Him and Aunt May are awesome. The
Yeah,
just
Marissa
it
Tomei as Aunt May is awesome, and you
crushes it.
haven't even mentioned Michael Keaton yet.
I know,
Like Michael
and
Keaton as Vulture
exactly,
is so fucking good.
yes, and like Aunt May, the first age appropriate aunt. I remember this movie came out. People were like Aunt May is way too young. And at the time, she was like in her like late 40s, and like an aunt to say a 48-year-old aunt to a 15-year-old high schooler, that makes sense. The first
Yeah,
Aunt May
not a
in the
great grandmother.
yeah, she's literally like
Which
90
honestly,
years
if we went
old.
back and looked, she probably was like
She
52.
seems yeah, and like even Sally Field kind of seemed a little old to be an aunt,
Hmm.
depending on the ages of like her sibling that had this kid or
Yeah,
whatever. But she was great. The movie felt like a very current, present day, age appropriate
I
Spider-Man, which I
agree.
really loved. And then, like you said, Michael Keaton as the Vulture was awesome. Great
He was an
action.
iconic villain,
Yeah.
and like that scene of the light changing
Mhm.
and the reveal that he's Liz's
The
dad
door
is
opening at the
like
house. I feel
that
like,
hits so hard every
yeah,
time. The first time was like it blew the doors
it
off.
like
It
sucks the
still
air.
works.
Yeah, sucks the air out of the room when like you like
Hmm.
and like everything gets quiet and you just see him there. Like I'm usually really good at seeing things. I feel like seeing things coming ahead,
I did
at a
not.
time. I
I
was
did
totally
not.
surprised. Did not see it
Yeah,
coming from a mile
it was
away.
such a good reveal.
Yeah. This is a whole nother
It's my
pod.
number five also. I
Yeah.
have this one at number five. This
Okay.
one is terrific.
Hmm.
And as being lower on um the Amazing Spider-Mans, and then like Spider-Man 3 also sucked. And like being such a big fan of Spider-Man, I watch all these movies all the time. Like
Hmm.
I rewatch them even though some of them are not as good as others.
Hmm.
Um Homecoming was like such a breath of fresh air.
For sure.
We got the little sneak of that in Civil War, which
Hmm.
was like cool. The like tiny little dose of Spider-Man,
Yeah.
but this was like I love the John Hughes 80s movies
Yeah.
too, and this just like nailed the high school coming of
Yeah.
age in the MCU, featured heavily Iron Man, which like I've always said I think Iron Man is best in the movies that aren't his own. And I think this is one of his better performances. Um Outside of maybe the first Iron Man, like Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3, I would take the Iron Man that we get in all the Avengers movies in Civil War and in Homecoming over his performances in the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, Homecoming was super fun. A lot of people critique the Iron Boy, Spider Boy, that kind
Hmm.
of stuff, relying on Stark Tech. As far as Spider-Man in the MCU goes, this was the perfect way of giving him his first movie, and
Definitely.
I think it's a really good. Like I wanted to put this higher, I just couldn't because
Same.
the top is elite.
Yeah. Also want to shout out the humor in that movie and like the stuff with him and his classmates, like when they're at
Mhm.
their little academic decathlon like
Yeah,
practice and their banter back and forth, people like shitting on Flash. Also,
yeah,
a very good modern take on what a bully is. He's the spoiled rich kid versus like the jock, which I really like.
yes.
But then also the humor with like Mr. Harrington, the teacher, and just him being kind of goofy and stuff. I
And
just
Hannibal Buress is the
yeah,
gym
the
teacher.
the
Martin Starr is the other
yes.
teacher.
The Captain America fitness test
Yeah,
gym video. He's like, I think this guy's a war
I
criminal
think this
now.
guy's a war criminal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the humor's really funny. They just any of the scenes that were in the high school are really good.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Homecoming. both of
Number
our number
5.
fives. It's the first time we've agreed on a positioning
No,
since number 11.
yes, yep.
All right, number 4.
Here I have Spider-Man No Way Home,
Okay.
which I could easily swap with Homecoming, and I think if I were to, if I had to, gun to head, had to pick which one of these movies to rewatch, I think I would pick Homecoming,
Hmm.
honestly. But No Way Home sits at 4 for me. Like you kind of highlighted, there were some flaws where they kind of just were like, let's play the greatest hits. Let's just have the cool factor of bringing these people together using the
Hmm.
multiverse concept that's been introduced. For me, this first viewing, like with you, was amazing. December 2021, this comes out. It's like Marvel hadn't completely hit their rut yet. They still had a lot of good faith with fans. And then you had kind of all the whispers of, are they going to bring in the other Spider-Man with this multiverse? And the memes are floating around. And they
Hmm.
did. And like, I think they very much cobbled together a lot of this movie. Like, we've learned retroactively that they've done with a lot of their movies historically.
Hmm.
But with a lot too, that they also
Yeah, it was a
managed to
shot
pull it
shot
off.
during COVID.
Yeah.
Huge spectacle
Yep.
movie.
Yeah. There's luckily for them and for us, they're able to pull it off. But I enjoyed this movie so much. It was another kind of like almost like sporting event esque, movie theater
Yeah.
viewing. People were applauding and going crazy, and even though you partially suspected the other Spider-Man showing up, we didn't know for sure. But when
Yeah.
Toby came on screen, Andrew Garfield came on screen, it was so effective. We're so hyped. Their banter, which I learned a lot later on, was kind of ad libbed, or they
Hmm.
figured out that day. It worked really well for me. I think just the fact that Peter sacrificed himself at the end of a different type of ending showed him kind of
Yeah.
maturing. I don't know, just a lot of it really worked for me, even though in hindsight, it was kind of built around a couple big things, like, the Statue of Liberty fight, the fact that other Peters are coming in.
Hmm.
But I just think that initial
The
viewing,
little scene with Daredevil.
yes, the little Matt Murdock nod at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, and then also I do want to shout out the fact they brought in all the iconic villains. You get Willem Dafoe back as Green Goblin, who absolutely crushes it.
But you didn't like those guys.
Yeah, no, yeah, and his line delivery of like where Peter says he's trying to talk to him, and I'm forgetting Green Goblin's the character's name.
Is it the I'm something of a scientist myself?
Not that, but that was a
Okay.
good line. But he's like, so and so's not home, honey, and the way he like
Oh
delivers
yeah. Oh,
that.
that is great.
Yeah, yeah,
Norman's on
Norm's not.
sabbatical, honey.
Yeah, that's what it is. It was so good. And then you get the
That is
different,
great.
yeah, he crushes it, the different take on Electro, and they kind of like reference him being different and not being blue.
Why just him and no one else was different? Like
Yeah.
I
And then,
there was like weird choices in that
true.
one for sure, but the spectacle of it like is not lost on me. I
Yeah.
still stand by it's one of the most mind-blowing theater experiences I've
Yeah.
ever had.
So I think that spectacle and them actually pulling off all that really did a lot for me. But
Mhm.
now that we've talked about this, there's a good chance I could flip No Way Home and Homecoming.
I would not blame you in the slightest. I feel like that is the right move.
I think you've
Homecoming
talked me
above.
into it.
Because just pay attention next time you watch No Way Home
Oh,
and just see if you. I know
yeah,
you've probably watched
I
it
can
a
see it as
bunch of
you're
times.
describing it. Yeah.
I'm watching it in my head.
Yeah.
My number 4, I put Brand New Day.
Mhm.
When I first made this list, I had it lower, and I was like, "Am I being crazy with like recency bias? I feel like this movie should be in the top 5."
Mhm.
And you obviously have it higher than I do.
Mhm.
Um, we've already talked about everything with it. I mean, this movie, I think it just matured. I agree with you. I think the Tom Holland movies are the best of them. Of the Spider-Man, they're not all trilogies now. We have 3 from Tobey, 2 from Andrew, and 4 from Tom. But I think it is the best of the Tom ones. And I think it's the best performances across the board. I have the least negative criticism. Obviously, recency bias could be involved here, and we'll see how I feel about it in like a year or so.
Mhm.
But Brand New Day is phenomenal, and it's my number 4. All right, top 3. What do you have at number 3?
3, I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Completely agree with what you said earlier. It very much feels like a part 1, and I mean, it
Mhm.
essentially is. I'm really high on the Spider-Verse movies. I think they're both works of art. literally and figuratively.
Mhm.
The Miles character is great. The writing for those movies, but we'll stick with the Spider-Verse now. The writing's awesome. I love the fact that you get to expand the world a little bit more than from the first one. Um, just the introduction of some of the new Spider-Men, like with was it Pavi? I can't remember what the like Indian Spider-Man from.
Mhm.
They can't remember what version of New York, like Mumbai. New Mumbai might be his kind of like
Yeah, I
alternate
think
city
so.
name.
Something like that.
Um, yeah, I just think they
I
incorporate.
don't remember very
Yeah,
much
I'm
about
trying
this
to. I
movie.
watch it like once a year. I think I've seen it like 3 times ever.
I'm
Um,
overdue. I that one might be like the next movie I
it's
watch.
also longer, so it takes a little
Mhm.
while to watch. But I just think overall it's really strong. Looks beautiful, scores beautiful. We get Oscar Isaac as kind of like anti-hero slash villain in here. He
See
crushes
the
it.
Spider-Man 2099?
2099, yeah, but
Okay.
that's it.
He was
He's
good.
a that's a really cool concept. The whole spider world is amazing. You get a billion different ones. I think it's just a feat in and of itself to cram in so many hundreds upon hundreds of versions of spider
Mhm.
people. Humor's awesome. You get some of the old characters come in back in the second half, and I just think the kind of thinking, everyone's motivations and thinkings of what we should and shouldn't do in regards to like maintaining the multiverse. Um, I think it's really interesting. And then you have kind of almost the like Empire Strikes Back-ish type of ending where it's like, oh no, the hero's stuck in a precarious spot, didn't really work out the way I wanted to work out.
Mhm.
I just think it's a really strong overall, and I think the main knock is that the fact is that really, it works as a kind of part one, and you notice that I feel like the sequences in that movie are a lot longer than they would be in a movie that doesn't kind of stand, as a part one, that is left open ended. Like just thinking back to the MJ or the Spider Gwen scene when she comes back and is hanging out or meets up with Peter right after the rooftop party for his father's promotion, and they're hanging out for a while. I feel like that conversation is a lot longer than it might be in a movie where you don't know, like there isn't a second part coming, and then the whole
Yeah.
sequence in the spider world is like really really long, and it works for me, and I think it's great and I wouldn't change it, but I feel like it's just set up where it's like, okay, this is part one and a part two is coming
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, it just didn't have like the resolution that I would have liked
Hmm.
in that long of a movie. I mean, it felt like you said, up like a part one of
Yeah.
like a Deathly Hollows part one, or a Mockingjay part one, or
Yeah.
whatever Twilight's version, where it's just like, oh, it's such a long story we want to tell, so we're just barely gonna end the
Hmm.
first part of it.
Right.
Um, where that's the only reason I have into it a lot higher is that specific reason. My number three, I have the OG Spider-Man 2002.
Hmm.
Um, I wrote in here, it is the OG, very flawed but incredible. It is like the origin story of origin stories,
Hmm.
and I feel like a lot of the things that might feel redundant is specifically because this one did it. Um, but yeah, there's bad CGI, and they're casting old people to play high schoolers. This movie didn't handle the high school portion very well at all.
Hmm.
um I just think it's beautiful, the colors in it. The New Yorkness of this movie was really good,
Hmm.
where I feel like the New Yorkness of the Amazing Spider-Mans felt like hammy cartoon version of New York, where I think the Raimi ones felt a lot more grounded in
Hmm.
New York City. Um, Different era too. I mean, this was like fresh post 9/11 New York vibes, patriotism, Spidey with the American flag, and then that's Willem Dafoe is like the best acted villain, I think.
Hmm.
And it's just they're mirroring stories. I really, this is the one that I've just crushed this one. Like on
Yeah.
I've crushed this tape a lot of times.
Yeah.
This is one of the iconic movies of
Hmm.
my childhood. I've Do I have the DVD?
There it
I've
is.
had this one. This has probably gotten 1,000 views on it. Old school scene selection.
Wow, I haven't seen one of those in forever. Holy shit!
The death of Uncle Ben.
Spoiler.
um, Uncle Ben's death, that literally makes me cry every single time
Hmm.
that I watch this movie. Um, just the way he says Peter right before he dies when he's like on the street crushes me every single time.
Hmm.
Um, I love that. I love Spider-Man 1.
Hmm.
But definitely more flawed than a lot of these other movies. I just think the highs are higher.
Hmm.
I think that like fight at the end with the Goblin,
Yeah,
just
that's
the fact that the
iconic.
Goblin has the upper hand on him throughout the whole movie, like he just beats the shit out of him every time they face each
Hmm.
other, and literally doesn't even get him in the end. Like he gets the Goblin gets himself
Hmm.
is just like really good adversary for like an origin story. He's
Yeah.
just like in over his head. The Thanksgiving scene when he's like bleeding, his arms bleeding from the fight he just had with Norman, and
Hmm.
the drop of blood falls. Like there's so much like beautiful, iconic stuff in this
Hmm.
one. But I know you're not a huge fan, so I'll leave it be.
I do want to say, rewatching that a couple years for 5 years ago, it felt very jarring watching Willem Dafoe act. 'Cause I felt like he stood out to be so good in that,
Mhm.
and the rest fell flat for me. But he was always like, even watching years later, not being a fan, I'm like, no, he did a great job. Like he stood out so much
Oh
from the
yeah,
rest of the movie.
yeah. I think he's really good. I don't even think like Toby's performance was like worth praising. I
Hmm.
really just think the movie in itself, and Sam Raimi is like such a horror director that he really nails how scary the Goblin is,
Hmm.
and like really brings out the horror parts of that movie in a really good way. But like the CGI stuff is like really tough to see.
Hmm.
There's some corny stuff in it for
Hmm.
sure. It is a 2002 movie.
For sure.
In that era with like I think like Blade was late 90s, X-Men was like 2000,
Yep.
X-Men 2 and Spider-Man were right at this 2002 window, and it's just like they were just different
Hmm.
superhero movies back in this era. A couple years later we get the really bad Fantastic Fours, and just a different time. All right, number 2.
Spider-Man: Brand New Day comes in at number two for me.
I
It's
respect it.
it
I would
feels
have gone higher, but
it like feels high for me, but also putting it lower also doesn't feel right. When
mhm.
I compare it to Spider-Verse, I feel like it's more of a complete movie. And when I compare it to like No Way Home and Homecoming, which are my four and five, it feels like a better movie to me. I think
I agree with that.
it's super well rounded. Spider-Man's hit his stride. The story's going a different direction. I think they executed really well. All the stuff we just talked about a lot. Yeah, I just think Tom Holland does a great job. Zendaya, everyone else does a great job. The story makes sense. It's effective. It's funny. Has great action. It does unique new things. Um, really effective emotionally. Hits all the right beats. It's just a really strong all around Spider-Man movie for me. There's really not much or many weak spots.
Yeah, I don't disagree in the slightest. I feel like it handles it the MCU-ness of it, where we're being introduced to new characters, setting up new stuff, bringing back old
Hmm.
characters and having them interact. I feel like it's executed better than it's ever been done in this
Yes,
movie,
for
and
sure.
that's on top of the fact that this is some of the freshest action that we've gotten in a superhero movie. I think it just took everything that was already there and just elevated it in a lot of different ways
Hmm.
that I'm just extremely impressed with this new one.
Yeah, and I do want to say too, while watching this movie, a lot of Marvel movies, you're very much. For me, I feel like when I watch them, I very much feel like, okay, I'm watching a Marvel movie. I feel like I'm
Mhm.
existing in a Marvel movie. That's what I'm, witnessing with this in the beginning. Sure, there was certain MCU stuff. I'm okay, like yeah, this is Marvel-ish. If you have that flavor, that look to it, but then a lot of it, like no, like I don't feel pulled out of the story because it feels so like MCU Marvel Studios, like looking and
Mhm.
everything. It felt kind of fresh and new and different and on its own and high quality enough where I didn't feel like I'm blatantly watching a Marvel movie.
Yeah. I'm hoping that this guy directs the next one
Hmm.
and that we get some like Shang-Chi training Spider-Man stuff,
That'd
cuz
be cool.
like I think he was obviously the perfect person for Shang-Chi, but I feel like, and no shade to John Watts in the slightest, because I really do enjoy the first trilogy
Mhm.
of Tom Holland here, but Spider-Man's in good hands if he stays with it,
For
and
sure.
I'd be really excited to see the
Yeah.
Daniel. I'm sorry, what is his first
Dustin
name?
Daniel Cretton. It's three
Yeah,
parter. I think it's Dustin Daniel Cretton.
Destin Daniel
Destin.
Cretton. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think
yeah. Make another Spider-Man guy, because
yeah.
this one was really special.
Yeah. John Watts was perfect for the high school age Spider-Man, and
Mhm.
Cretton is perfect for the now adult Spider-Man.
Yeah. My number two is Into the Spider-Verse. Um, it's arguably the best. By process of elimination, I feel like I know where you have it. Um, this movie blew me away. Its story is great. Its performances are great. It's probably the best use of the multiverse in a feature.
Hmm.
Um, Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker is so good.
Good.
Killing Spider-Man in the beginning, killing the Chris Pine Spider-Man, um, allowing it to be more comic booky for an animated feature, and not having it be centered around Peter Parker. Like, it was just so fresh. Its animation style was so fresh. Everything about it was really special. But I'm not
Mhm.
going to step on too much of it, because Matthew, what's your number one?
By process of elimination, like you said, my number one is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
It's like a
I
perfect movie. It is
it
really really
You
good.
literally took the next sentence out of my mouth. This is one of the movies that I've told people I put in a very small group of like perfect movies. Like 10
Yeah.
out of 10, perfect, would not change a single thing about it. It is a masterpiece. It is a work of art.
You gotta go
Yeah, you
when
gotta
they're all fighting
go.
with yeah. There's
It's
so many like great lines and line readings.
Yeah. I If anyone watches this video back, you'll see me like open mouth, like trying to process thinking what to say next. I'm like in awe when thinking about this movie, and I fully intend on nominating this for a future movie night episode.
Yeah.
Beautifully animated, unique style. First one to really kind of do this different, kind of more artsy, illustrated, comic booky type of
Hmm.
way, but still looks very modern and fresh and cool. I heard when they created it, they wanted if you were to pause this movie at any moment while watching it, it would look like a comic book frame. They wanted everything to literally
Yeah.
be a work of art.
Yeah, just the
Um,
layering, the slightly
yes.
staggered
Yep.
of every image of like
Hmm.
the dots too. I mean,
Yes.
it is
It's so
they
good.
outdid themselves. That was
Yeah.
Sony Animation's first feature, first
Hmm.
time with Sony Animations, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
and it was one of the few movies to dethrone Pixar for great
Hmm.
for the Oscar
Yep.
for best animated feature.
Right.
Um, it's like takes a lot to take away that award from
Yeah.
whatever Pixar is putting out,
Yep.
because even a bad Pixar movie is better than a lot of other animation that's coming out, and then this
Absolutely.
one just reinvented what animated features could be.
For sure. Yeah. This movie voice cast 11 out of 10.
Yeah,
Miles, the Shamik Moore's Miles Morales crushes it. Haley Steinfeld as
yeah.
Spider Gwen.
Spider Gwen.
Nick Cage as Spider Noir.
He's looking right at us while we're talking about him. It kills me every time.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite lines of the
Talks
whole
about
movie.
like punching Nazis and drinking something cream,
Malt or egg cream or
egg
something
cream.
like
Yep,
that. Yeah,
exactly. Spider Ham, John Mulaney,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Just
Kimiko
like a Looney
Glenn.
Tunes version of.
Yes. You got the anime Spider, like Spider Woman,
Hmm.
and then
No, it
obviously
was a
like,
great cast of
oh yeah.
characters, bringing in different versions of Spider-Man, but
Mhm.
like not just, oh, another Peter Parker and then another Peter Parker and then like Spider Gwen, but it was
Yeah.
just like wacky, like the black
Yes.
and white,
Yeah.
the ham,
Yeah.
the anime. It
Mhm.
hit everything, and
For
then
sure.
Peter B. I
Peter B.
loved
Jake Johnson.
it. Basically, just Nick Miller
Yeah.
as Spider-Man. It was so good.
His delivery, the way he does the character, the fact that his like schlubby, out of shape, past his prime Spider-Man is like the
Yeah,
mentor, like their
his
dynamic.
gut hanging out, wearing
Oh, it's so
sweatpants,
good.
eating burgers.
Yeah. The script is amazing. The lines are
Mhm.
so effective. The humor is great. Everything's so unique to every character. Every character's animated differently. The overall story, like I don't have enough time to talk about this movie right now,
Yeah,
so
no.
I won't go into
We'll
it too much.
we'll do a movie night on
Oh,
it.
I fully intend on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything, and also the music, the soundtrack, phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this movie to me is one of the rare perfect movies. And as amazing as Tom Holland is, and as much as I love his movies, and as much as like so many of these movies are really awesome Spider-Man
Mhm.
movies, it is just a perfect movie for me. I can't have anything else but that as my number one Spider-Man movie.
I don't blame you in the slightest.
Hmm.
I mean, it's my number two, and I think I showed my cards earlier. My number one is Spider-Man 2.
Hmm.
Um, Alfred Molina as Doc Ock. There's
Iconic.
the scene where they're before he gets the arms attached to him, and he's having dinner with Octavius and Octavius's wife, and they're talking about poetry and how he doesn't really have a girl right now because MJ was like pissed at him, and they're at odds, and she's with someone else, and he's just like, poetry, my dear boy, like, and
Hmm.
they're just like laughing over dinner, and now him and his wife are just like so in love. And I really like um how they made the antagonist was like a really good character and a really good guy,
Yeah.
like not someone who's like, oh, this is the villain,
Yeah.
and being someone that you're like, oh, I love this character, and then you see it go wrong for them and they become the villain of the story.
Right.
The Sam Raimi horror is like so on display in this one. The like super far out zooms. The CGI was better in this one. There's
Hmm.
less like jarring animated looking scenes. Um, there's the train scene in this one is like one of the best superhero scenes of all time, in my opinion. Um, the
Iconic.
horror, him having the stuff surgically is already on, and they're like going to remove it scene where the doctors are getting attacked by the
Mm-hmm.
arms during it. That is like pure classic horror in the middle of this. Like, he is seriously, I think Raimi was like so the right choice for it. I love the first one, and the second one just improved on everything.
Hmm.
I think it was just so good, and much better performances out of the core people in this one. I feel like Toby and Kirsten Dunst were definitely lacking in the first one. I think they're a lot better in this one. I think the story is a lot cleaner in this one. Just similar beats to Brand New Day. The like, well, can I be Peter Parker? Can I be Spider-Man? And he makes the opposite choice in Spider-Man 2, where
Hmm.
instead of going full Spider-Man, put the life on hold, he goes full Peter Parker and gives up being Spider-Man. And that's just so effective. I love that. The whole sequence of him giving up his power, his vision goes back. Like, when he decides he's not Spider-Man, he reverts back to gawky, awkward, nerdy Peter
Hmm.
Parker. And I just love this one so much. This is the one that starts with him delivering pizzas, and it's oh, what's Zoe Deschanel's sister's name? I
Emily.
forget. Emily Deschanel is the receptionist, and
That's
he's like
right.
super late dropping off pizza, and like there's just so many like good bit parts.
Hmm.
Spider-Man taking the elevators in this one because he like just didn't want to or couldn't use his webs. He had the
Hmm.
web block, which they reference in what's it called? No Way Home, when they're
Hmm.
like, oh, like we run out of like web fluid. You ever have like a web block? And he's like, I did have a web block when you're talking about it. I had a web block. Um, a lot of the stuff from No Way Home was like direct Spider-Man 2 stuff.
Hmm.
There wasn't as many moments, iconic moments that are referenced upon outside of having the Goblin in the movie.
Hmm.
I just love Spider-Man 2. Like I
Yeah.
said before, if it's on my Mount Rushmore of all superhero movies, I think it's might even be the top of that list, but we'll cross that bridge when we
Yeah.
shoot that
For
episode.
sure.
I'm shocked that we only overlapped in two slots
Yeah.
with the Amazing Spider-Man 2 at 11 and Homecoming at 5.
Hmm.
We were off by one in a few different areas. I'm kind of shocked that with you being a few years older than, or a couple years older than I am, I'm shocked that the Toby ones didn't resonate with you as much growing
Yeah.
up.
I remember liking the first one a lot as a kid. It
Hmm.
didn't stick with me as like the extra special movie or anything at the time. Because I wasn't like, I don't know. I feel like I wasn't super huge into superheroes growing up. Like the average
Okay.
amount, like I'd watch like, I saw this movie. Obviously, I would see like the Batman Beyond animated show. I'd
That's
catch some like,
unbelievable.
I'd catch some like Spider-Man animated show, like reruns and stuff. So like
Hmm.
I liked them, but they kind of were in the mix of a million different things I was watching at the time. So I saw this movie, liked it. It was like because of the intense action and the stuff, Green Goblin could be a little scary for 8-year-old. And then when he gets like
Hmm.
stabbed with his own glider at the end, like I remember being like kind of tense, but
Oh,
like
I would be peeking.
yeah, but like able to handle at the same time. Like my first test, like test to be okay with like a more adult movie, like with in terms of like action and intensity. So I
Hmm.
liked it a lot, but it didn't stick with me long term as a special thing. And then I just never happened to see 2 or 3 in theaters. I
That's
just
crazy.
for
You never
whatever
saw
reason,
two.
I probably just wasn't on the priority list for me at at that age in elementary and middle school. But
Hmm.
yeah, so I think just my experiences with it initially were different than yours, clearly, and that's what painted my
Yeah.
listing differently. And I think that's really what made our list so different was that I had the
I
OG
think so
trilogy
because
down low.
I don't disagree at all with having the animated features that high, and
Hmm.
I don't disagree with having the Tom Holland ones that high.
Hmm.
I'm just a lot lower on the Andrew Garfield ones than
Which
I think you are,
honestly,
and you're lower on the Toby
yeah,
ones than I
which
am.
most people are lower on Garfield, and most people are higher on the OG trilogy, especially too. So that's like the holy grail Spider-Man
Mhm.
superhero movie.
The Doc Ock stuff is so
Hmm.
fucking good. I love him.
Hmm.
I had the action figures. I had the Lego sets.
Amazing.
I definitely had like different superhero movie viewing like windows from you, I don't think I knew that because I was very into all of those. I watched all the old X-Men's,
Hmm.
um these Toby Spider-Man. Me and Vale have watched those bad Fantastic Four movies so many times, and I was like, really, even though they were bad, I loved superhero stuff so much that I
Yeah.
was watching all those bad ones over and over and
Hmm.
over. Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, the Val Kilmer and Clooney
Hmm.
ones, like those movies are bad, but I was grinding them.
Yeah.
I Those were the ones I was always watching. I
Hmm.
always had so much fun
Yeah.
with these types of stories. And then MCU came along, and I was like really into Iron Man, and then kind of cold on Thor and I think I liked the Hulk movie back when it had come out,
Hmm.
but I kind of hit a point in those, like I kind of became a doubter of MCU around Avengers and those movies that came after it, where I was just like, oh, give me a break. Like I had been a fan of these movies for so long that I was just kind of like doubtful that this new experiment was working.
Right.
And I think I was just like a hater on those like 2012 to 2014 movies. And it
Hmm.
really wasn't until um, probably Guardians that I was like, okay, no one gives a shit about the Guardians. Like, I'm a superhero fan and I barely knew about the Guardians. Like, this is ridiculous. They're making this movie. And then that movie being as good as it was, I was like, okay, I will trust what's going on now. And that also just happened to be the start of like the iconic
That
run,
magical run.
that magical run of that like end of phase two into early phase three leading up to Infinity War and Endgame was like an absolute heater. And those
Hmm.
were the movies that were all coming out when I was in college. I was in college from 14 to 18. So those were like, while in college was like as I was getting back into them. And I feel like high school is when I had kind of cooled off on them. But
Hmm.
like middle school and elementary school me was like all Toby
Yep.
and like Hugh Jackman. Like they were the big ones back then as
Hmm.
far as Marvel was, Hulk, Spider Man, and Wolverine. Those were like the big three for Marvel, and I just loved even the bad stories were just so good. And I think that that window of time that I was cold on these superhero movies is when Andrew Garfield's movies came out,
Hmm.
and he's tremendous in them. I'm not throwing any shade at
Yeah.
Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield. I just think the movies themselves are just bad.
Very fair.
Well, that was our 11 Spider-Man movies ranked. We might end up splitting this off as part of a bonus episode.
I think we need another separate episode.
This we went quite long, but
Chat.
we assumed that was going to happen when we started talking about superheroes.
Oh yeah.
Kind of we've done it before off
Yeah.
mic numerous times, and these conversations end up lasting a lot longer than we just did on camera. So
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Popcorn in the Face. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you're following us on Instagram at Popcorn in the Face Pod for episode updates, behind the scenes content, and all of our movie opinions. New episodes will be available on Wednesdays on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, so be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss one. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.